It's my great privilege to be here at NL Long back I was here for another talk, and I'm guessing that all of you are tired, exhausted now, and just waiting to get out. So just to give a breather, can I ask everybody to just stand up for a minute? Just for a minute. Stretch yourself. Stretch yourself. High up. You can be seated. Because I needed a stretch. So before I start, let me offer prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you for inviting me over here for speaking in a MBA college. Usually it is said, why do people come to MBA? Nowadays, the minimum qualification you need to be known as unemployed is MBA. So, I hope not that's the main reason why that doesn't apply to Dalmia. So, I hope not that's the reason why you have all come to give an edge to your talents. I wish all of you a very happy Holi, although belated. I don't see many colors here, colored faces, but you might have used good detergents to wash off all the colors. So wish you all a very happy Holi. And India has all these very amazing, colorful traditions, which at times seems to be superstitious or not as per the ecological wellness. And today I want to speak something about tradition in technology, because what I seem to be is a traditional guy, and what is spoken about me is from IIT. And let me see how I journeyed from being a technological person to a traditional person. Usually when Ravan is burnt on Dashara day or when Holi is put up, we all think that these traditions that we have in India are all something that just a memory of the past or something symbolic. They don't seem to have much relevance to today's lives. And like yesterday's Holi, there's a very big reason for why Holi is celebrated at the beginning of March, beginning of the spring, because the summer is going to come and you need to really get cooled down. And when you put so much water for 4-5 hours on colors, all those natural colors, the body really cools down. Like that, there are many reasons. But many times traditions become very blind and people just get into them and they seem to be going against technology. And at my convocation way back in 2003, I had got an invite to come and attend the convocation and take my degree. And the invite had read that please come in your traditional wear. And I'm sure there is traditional days here. Usually traditional wear in a college means kurta paijama or Punjabi or saris. So me already being connected to some kind of spiritual circles there, I thought the real traditional wear is dhoti. And then I went to my convocation where there were around 4,000 IIT students all gathered. And when my name was called, the picture is still there, Infosys CEO Narayan Murthy, his mouth was gasped open. And my HOD SS Major, his mouth was also, because they never thought a guy will be so outrageous that he comes to take his degree in a dhoti. Even my father was highly upset with that thing I did. And if anybody follows any tradition, usually that guy will be put off that this guy is not modern. Even in any college, the more we technologically advance, it seems to be you have to let go of the traditions that have been there since many years. And technology, although is helpful quite a bit, it is also harmful very much, because we really don't know all the output that it gives. And long back I had seen a Tom and Jerry. Somebody had spoken about another Pikachu, and one of my favorites was Tom and Jerry show. And in this, one episode was where the madam, the mammy, the owner of the house, she was fed up with Tom because he was supposed to catch Jerry, but he was only playing around and drinking all the milk, but not actually. He became friend with Jerry, but like a fighting friend. And then Mammy, she read in a newspaper that they have come up with a robotic cat. And this robotic cat, you don't have to feed it, you don't have to fuss it, whatever you say, you program it, it just does. And Meccano was the name of this robotic cat, and she was highly impressed. And she said to the traditional cat, Tom, you can go out now. We don't need any more you. And she employed this Meccano. And even Jerry was highly upset because it was highly programmed, and Jerry was caught and he was also thrown out. And Jerry, being as determined as he is, he studied how does this Meccano work. And the Meccano is programmed to catch the mice wherever it is. So what Jerry did, it brought a lot of robotic mice, 10 of them, and it let go all over the house. And this Meccano became so furious that all it wanted was to kill the mice. It didn't mind pulling down the house, because it had determination, it had one-pointed focus, but it lacked discrimination that it's not just to remove the mice, but also you need to protect the house. But the house was in full shambles. And this is what often happens when we just blindly want to adopt technology and not see that tradition also has its place. Now, what is tradition? Tradition is something that has stood the test of time, maybe based on science, maybe based on observations of our generations. And if we outrightly neglect tradition, that especially India has been having for last 5,000 years, then technology will only cause, yes, the mice will be killed, but the house will be pulled down. Would that be good? Just like the old story of the golden hand. Yes, everything became gold, but the emotions were lost. His daughter also became golden. And one of the most ground reality of technology and tradition comes in our communications. How do we communicate now? We have hardly lost the ability to talk to each other because we text a lot. And now the question that is coming up is, can texting replace talking? We are very good at texting, but when it comes to striking a talk with a new guy or a strange or a friend, usually what happens is two people come together to talk about someone else that is not there. They can't talk to each other, they talk about someone else, because this traditional way of communication has much more importance than just texting. It's that in Italy, after WhatsApp came, the divorce rates increased because of one feature that was in WhatsApp, last seen at. Because the wives were following their husbands, when did my husband sleep? And Based on that, they used to make all the judgments. And now WhatsApp is going to come up with another feature that's going to kill marriages. Last seen with. And if that comes up, I'm sure what will happen. So if we stop the traditional, the family tradition, the knowledge tradition, yes, YouTube is coming up very big, but can teachers be replaced with technology, just YouTube? Can friends be replaced with Facebook? Can food be replaced with just ordering Swiggy or all these apps, home cooked food? Can PlayStation replace playing out? No, they have their place. But what has happened is that we have taken to that so much that it has, what Einstein said at one point of time, is that I fear that technology will surpass our human interaction and the world will be a generation of idiots. Often you find everybody assembled together, but nobody is able to talk to each other. They are into their, even in a meeting. In a meeting, everybody is on their mobiles. This is a famous photo that was taken in Colorado airport in 2016, where the mother, she just places the baby on the floor and she's texting. And these kinds of scenes often reflect that, are we becoming smart gadgets and dumb people? And if we don't take care of this traditional aspect of way we communicate, way we live, and we neglect because technology is coming up so fast, then often we'll become robotic, mechanical, and then we find kuch maza nahi aa raha hai. There is no emotions in life, there is no maza. And tradition, we don't have to break the wheel. The wheel is already set by our ancestors, by the traditions that we are following. And we don't have to break the wheel to make the cart. Use the wheels of tradition to make the cart. And usually when I speak about tradition, it seems to be tradition is all about practices. Bindi kahan lagana hai ya kya pehna hai. By the way, what is the logic of in traditionally wearing a dhoti? Now when I come to events like this where there is full-blown AC, most of the others are in full suit, and usually I start shivering. But here it's good enough for me also. But traditionally, India has been a tropical climate. And being a tropical climate, you need to be ventilated. And a dhoti helps you to be ventilated. Another good reason is that you don't have to worry about your waistline. Whether I am fat or thin, all I have to do is a knot. So my consciousness from the body can elevate to something higher. Else the genes or the whatever, immediately you get to know, मैं मोटा हो रही हूँ, या मैं मोटी हो, whatever. So that is one reason why traditionally there are some principles. But all the practices, we don't have to immediately take all the practices, or the practices may be irrelevant now, but the principles have to be taken. And I just wanted to do a demo with a kite. Now if life has to go up just like a kite, how many of you fly kites here? Most of you. Unfortunately, I always ran after kites, I never flew a kite. But in seminars like this, I try to fly the kite. So when you fly the kite goes up based on what? The thread that is attached to it. The thread may be limiting it to the ground, but the moment you try to cut the thread from the kite, what happens? It flows off. It just goes down. Same with if you neglect the family traditions, the way we interact. If you neglect the health tradition, if you neglect the business tradition, the way business, the ethics that are there, then all the thing that happens like Alexander, conquering one after another, but what we have conquered is lost to something else. And tradition also is what is discipline. In a modern word, it is discipline. And today's discipline becomes tomorrow's success. Dalai Lama once said that learn the rules and follow the rules so well that you can properly break the rules to create magic. A.R. Rahman, it's not that he just plays any way he wants, because he has learned the musical tradition so well that he can create magic out of it. A biker, he has learned the balance so well that he can ride even with his hands off, although I don't recommend doing that. So same way, when we understand the principles of the tradition nicely, not the practices. Each practice is based on a principle, and there are the research and the Vedic scriptures tell us there are 4 principles of life. If you follow them, your life can be a sustainable, happy, prosperous life. And these are the things that are the 4 pillars of a long-standing society. Whether it be a business, whether it be a family, whether it be a state. These principles are very important, and I just like to clarify with them, put forth so that you can implement in your own life and also in your businesses. The first one is called as, in Sanskrit is called as Satyam, Shautam, Kshama, Daya. The first one is Daya. Daya in day-to-day parlance can be called as sensitivity. Are you sensitive to ecology? Are you sensitive to human beings? Are you sensitive not to cause harm to others? Recently, in one of my interactions, I had to introduce one of my fellow monks who is also a cook. He cooks for us at the temple, and I had to introduce him. By education, he is a doctor. I am an engineer, he is a doctor. But somehow, when I was about to introduce him, words came into my mouth that he is our cook. But I immediately stopped. That would this be palatable to him, to introduce him as somebody who is just a cook? Because cook is a condescending, derogatory word. So the way I introduced him is, he is the one who feeds us daily. Now it's the same thing, but how are you sensitive to others' feelings? And this also extends to being sensitive to animals. Just for our sake to try to harm ecology or the other species or even other human beings, we have to be sensitive that we don't cause harm to others. The second principle is called as Satyam. Satyam is honesty. Be honest to what you are, what are your strengths, and then God will show you the area in which you can prosper. And when you try to be someone else, then you get marks. Like in a copying, we may get marks, but we don't get knowledge. And when we don't get knowledge, then we don't proceed ahead. Once in a graveyard, a small girl asked her mother, that mother, do 2 people lie in the same coffin in a graveyard? Mother said, no, never beta. Only one body is put in one coffin. Then the mother, the child asked, then why is it that in this coffin there are 2 people put? Because the inscription there says that here lies an honest man and a lawyer. So the baby thought that they are 2 different people, because honesty and law, they don't seem to be going together. It's just a joke. Just like they say, there are many oxymorons, clearly misunderstood or sincere student. They are opposites, or happily married, or business ethics. So sometimes there is a conflict, and usually they don't go together well. And when you are not honest with your own weaknesses, then you also are not willing to accept others' weaknesses. This is one thing that Satya Nadella writes in his book, Hit Refresh, his experience with his child that was born paraplegic. And then when he saw that if he is facing such struggle to face weaknesses in his life, then maybe others are also facing. And that's when he was able to overcome the business, the power struggle that was happening within his business, to become more empathetic, because he was honest with himself. Then he was able to see that honesty in others. And the third principle of long-standing societies of tradition is don't become a slave of anything or anyone. Independency. One of the main reasons is intoxication, drinking or drugs. People just get madly addicted to it, and it becomes very difficult for them to come out. And we may not be all into that, but we are definitely into another thing that is known as the mobiles. The mobiles seem to be magic, but from magic stage they go to manic stage. You're constantly uske gulam ban jate hum. Yes, Malik, whenever it rings we run out, and later it becomes toxic. So therefore it is said there is Alcoholic Anonymous, and also nowadays there is Selcoholic Anonymous. Or there is a new term that is called as Vidiot. Vidiot is an idiot that is addicted to watching videos. He is a Vidiot. And we get so addicted to just into this 4-inch screen that we forget the world. We forget to see the nature. We forget to spend time with our near and dear ones. Therefore, it is said we are never able to take a day off, even when we are off the thing. And that's why our brains, our bodies don't get refreshed. And therefore, we are all the time feeling weak. The last principle for a long-standing society or a tradition is purity. Narendra Modi ji introduced this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is excellent, that where we are trying to clean the whole environment. But I add to this that along with being Swachh Bharat, we need Swachh Bharatiya. Because अगर भारतीय स्वच्छ नहीं है तो भारत को स्वच्छ करेंगे तो फिर से वो गंदा हो जाएगा. And therefore स्वच्छ, that being pure, being clean at the heart is a very important need for us to have a sustainable society or a family or an organization. And the main way cleanliness is, everybody agrees we need to be clean, but the root of cleanliness or root of purity is not being loyal to our principles. When there is disloyalty, that creates impurity. And therefore, this principle of being loyal in your relationships is also emphasized a lot. It said after marriage, why do in Hindu tradition they put a red dot? Because it says recording is on, be careful. And once in a shopping mall, a guy went to a beautiful lady and he asked her, "Can you talk to me, please?" Said, "Why should I talk to you?" He said, "My wife is lost somewhere in the shopping mall, and whenever I speak to a beautiful lady, she appears. So instead of me going and everywhere searching, I just speak to you and she'll come out." Yes, maybe for these reasons it's okay, but when our main relationships in life are not loyal, then that purity of the heart doesn't come. And if it can try to maintain these 4 principles of tradition, then the life that we are building upon, the business that we are building upon, can be really sustainable. Sensitivity, honesty, independency, and purity. Therefore, it is said, detachment is not that you don't own anything. Detachment is nothing owns you. That you are not a slave of anything or any kind of person. You are actually an asset, somebody who contributes. And therefore, as a conclusion, technology and tradition should collaborate with each other, because at times technology becomes blind and it comes into the hands of terrorists and there is no vision, the ethics are lost. Therefore, the tradition which is lame, which is incapable, like Indian value system, it needs the help of tradition, so that, like the platform of YouTube, so that we can spread the wholesome life properly. So therefore, they should collaborate, technology and tradition, the way we are doing. I am coming and speaking to a business entrepreneurs on tradition. And at times, tradition will go blind. There will be blind traditions without any proper reason. That time technology should come and try to bring people out of those traditions. So when there is mutual collaboration, and as many other speakers said, life is a collaborative effort, not a individual isolated effort. And this quote I like from Einstein: once we accept our limits, we go beyond them. There are limits to tradition, there are limits to technology. And when we understand these limits and try to bring them together, then actually we can grow wholesome in our life. And as a summary, tradition is not just practices, but also deep rooted principles. Traditions is actually to enable freedom, just like a kite. It's supposed to go up. The thread is not to bind it, but the thread is supposed to take it up. And those four principles of tradition, which are acronym as SHIP, is sensitivity, honesty, independency, and purity. And try to collaborate. Don't neglect the wisdom that is coming from your parents or from your generations. There is so much great wealth there, and try to respect that and incorporate into your own lives, and also try to become great technological entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.